I'd say there's something for everyone. I really wanted to paint Game2Life with a broad paintbrush because there's so many extra things that adults don't get to do because it's not their size, it's not their speed. It's always been meant for a good time.
Thanks for joining us on Louisiana's Playground Podcast, your roadmap to all things Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm Brady Reynard.
And I'm Jillian Corder. We're excited to bring you another episode with authentic stories and experiences of Southwest Louisiana with all the tools that you need to build your own personal Lake Charles itinerary.
Episode 64 of Louisiana's Playground Podcast coming your way, and we have a fun-filled episode as we talk to the owner, the creator, the operator, if you will, of Game2Life, Judson McCord, and he brings the game to life here on the podcast.
Yeah.
So much to talk about. There's so much going on the grounds of Game2Life, so much fun to be had, and it was a really great conversation.
It was. It really opened my eyes to everything that they have to offer there. First, we're going to begin the show, as we always do, though, with a taste of Southwest Louisiana. It's a segment that we call On the Eats. This week, we head over to Victoria's on Broad Street in Lake Charles, a Mexican food restaurant. Absolutely incredible there. They've been open at that location since 2010. This is fun fact. This is one of the first places that I was ever introduced to whenever Brady and I moved to Lake Charles back in 2015. So it was the first place I ever went to. Everyone spoke so highly about their breakfast. And that's what I have been so well versed with is their breakfast options, because they have this little potato taco situation. It's really, really good. But this was my first time actually having their lunch. And it lived up to it. It's very good. And it's woman-owned by sisters, actually, Nancy and Rocio. Victoria, that's actually their mom. And a lot of the recipes of the restaurant come inspired by Victoria herself. Yeah, and Victoria is there every once in a while, helping in the kitchen. Yeah.
So that's awesome. So she obviously comes and helps and makes sure that they're living up to the recipes that she's provided.
Living up to that name, yeah.
So as you said, they serve breakfast, which is uncommon for a Mexican restaurant in this area.
I think they said they're one of the only ones, if not the only one.
So it's pretty uncommon to see it. And so that's really where I think they've made their biggest mark in the community is really during breakfast, being able to provide breakfast burritos and tacos.
Being right there downtown, right off of Interstate 10, when you have all of what we call the plant traffic, right? Back and forth to the industries all morning long. They have shift change really early in the morning. And this is the place that's open. So they are pretty packed. Thank goodness they have a drive-through. But they're pretty packed all morning long. They said their lunch rush is big too, but it's breakfast that sends a lot of people their way.
Apparently their eggs is what they kind of say is the secrets, and how they kind of it's fresh cracked, fresh eggs, and that's really what they believe is the bedrock, the foundation of their breakfast. And really what makes it all going. I personally probably think it's the homemade tortillas because they're fantastic.
Yes, and I'll get to those in just a second, but they're delicious.
And it's an evolving menu too. So what's really nice is, every trip you come, there might be something new on the menu.
Yeah.
Some of the newer additions they've had some new desserts like strawberry and cream now that they have on the menu. They've added different alcohols now. There's certain Mexican snacks or street corn. So they're constantly evolving and wanting to add new options for visitors and locals alike.
So what did we order? I got the chicken fajita lunch. It's grilled chicken served with onions and your bell peppers and all, with refried beans, rice, a little salad on the side with sour cream because I need my sour cream. But again, with the homemade tortillas, they're fresh. They're made right there in house. You can tell with every bite. They're soft, but not sticky. Yeah, they're the perfect consistency. So I made my way too large burrito situation. This chicken is really well seasoned, so well cooked. Every bite was good. It's fresh. You can tell it's made right there.
And the portion size is fantastic.
Oh, you got a lot of food.
Yeah.
Got a lot of food. Leftovers can be had.
Almost guaranteed leftovers unless you're a big eater.
Yeah. And I could have kept eating. It's good. It was very, very good. But I did take a bite of your dish, which was also delicious.
Right, yeah. And see, I did keep eating. That was the problem. But I wanted to try a couple of different things. My main meal, though, were the enchiladas. I'm kind of all over the place with enchiladas. Sometimes I like chicken. Sometimes I like beef. Sometimes I want pork. It's just, it honestly is.
It varies.
It depends on the sauces and stuff. So this time I typically really like the cheese enchilada. I'll get my protein from somewhere else, another meal if
There's
I
protein
can.
in cheese. Come on.
But the cheese enchiladas were very good. It comes with beans and rice, the choice between charro beans and refried beans. As far as the enchiladas, they were super, super cheesy, which is what you expect, obviously. And they were so soft, and they were just, doused in a good Rojas sauce. The Rojas sauce comes on the table as well as a verde sauce. So you have a red and green sauce at the table. And both are a little bit different. The green sauce to me pairs better with like pork flavors, and it's a little spicier. The red is much more of a kind of that generic red sauce, and it goes good on just about everything, which including the enchiladas is what is on top of them. But they had such a good little kick.
Yeah.
And really flavorful. It's not like a full-on tomato red sauce that you would typically see. So it was something a little different, and I really liked it. In fact, I put a lot more red sauce all over my rice and beans as well. And just really, really good. I really enjoyed the enchiladas, and it was a much different take than a standard like Tex-Mex version.
Sure. It was much more authentic, I think. And what I liked about yours, I just had a bite, but the corn tortilla was really good. I'm not normally a corn tortilla person. Funny enough, we were talking to Nancy there at the restaurant, and she said corn tortillas are more popular for her and her family, but here in the States, they
there's a lot more flavor with them, and they're actually a little bit more healthier. So
yeah, so I
more healthier,
more healthier,
more grammatical correct.
There you go. I really enjoyed that too, but that wasn't the only thing you ordered.
I didn't. I wanted to try the pastor taco, which, as you know, is pork. I'm not the biggest onions fan, so I took the onions off but added jalapenos, so I could still have a little bit of that crunch, but a much more palatable crunch for me. And it comes with plenty of cilantro on top, and it's there's so much meat. They have to do 2 tortillas kind of side by side for a super taco,
hold it
if
all
you will.
in.
And I put some of that verde sauce on it, and like I said, stuffed to the max, and it's such a good flavor. So there's no cheese on it. Because, not every taco has cheese on it. Especially authentic tacos don't always have cheese.
Yeah.
And so this one had no cheese, but you don't need it. The sauciness, the crunch from the jalapenos, the cilantro, it kind of ties it all together. It was a really, really good taco. And, of course, I had it on corn tortilla, which don't go for the flour unless you're getting like a big burrito. If you're not, go for the corn. You're leaving flavor on the table.
There you go. Well, yeah, and this is a really great spot to if you're zooming through, downtown Lake Charles for an event. This is the place. It's right off of Broad Street, just a block away from what we think of as like the heart of downtown, right off of Interstate 10. So a great little spot. Victoria's Red Building, can't miss it.
From a great meal to a great guest, we welcome on Judson McCord, the owner-operator of Game2Life. Game2Life offers unique, immersive, interactive entertainment experiences in Lake Charles, like laser tag, pickleball, and so much more, as we'll get into here in just a second. He's exhibited entrepreneurial flair from an early age, and after some successful business ventures, he founded Game2Life in 2018 when he blended his love for technology, exercise, gaming, self-defense, and unforgettable experiences all together and tied a nice little bow to it. Judson aims to establish at least 10 Game2Life locations nationwide, with, of course, Lake Charles being its flagship. Welcome to the show, Judson.
Man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, of course, Southwest Louisiana is known for big city amenities, but small town charm. And here on the podcast, we really like everyone to be able to get to know how you play in Louisiana's playground a bit better. We start with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Of course.
Okay, number 1, crawfish or gumbo?
Crawfish.
Ooh, easy answer for you. Why is that?
Because my wife loves crawfish. So if somebody's going to give me crawfish, I'm going to go and give it to her.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my big thing.
Oh, brownie points he just scored in answer number 1. Good job.
I don't know. She just really likes crawfish. The price is high. And if you're offering, I'll take the crawfish.
I'll take it.
I like that.
Number 2, poolside or beachside?
Beachside.
Toes in the sand kind of guy?
Yeah, I just like being out there with the ocean. I like the sound.
Yeah.
There's a few things, regardless of how you feel about it, there are a few things more relaxing than the waves, the wind. I mean, It's even a setting on sound machines is beach.
Yeah.
Wind,
Yeah.
sand.
I mean, you can have the sand. I'm not a huge sand fan,
Brady hates it.
Sand fan.
but the slick where you have the water run up.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
I'm sitting right there and just kind of like, not getting my hands all sandy.
It's
Just
nice.
like to just,
It's nice.
As long as you don't have to touch it.
yeah, just kind of sit and relax,
That's how Brady feels about it too. I'm the opposite. I'll just like roll around in it. I live there. That's my
Sand
favorite place
queen.
to be. Favorite place to be. Okay. Number 3, concert or comedy show.
Concert.
What are we listening to?
Big music guy. Anything from 80s to jazz to
Okay.
EDM, all over the spectrum. Love music.
A little bit of everything. Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of in paradise here with the number of concerts that we have and the nice variety that we also get here too. All right, let's start broad. What are the unique entertainment experiences offered at Game2Life?
Yeah, so Game2Life, the idea was just immersive gaming. That's what I wanted. And it started with laser tag, built into axe throwing. Then it went into pickleball. We're dabbling with archery. And then we've got some other cool, fun things we're adding as well.
You started this in 2018, right?
Yep. Started concepting it, trying to figure out exactly what it was going to be. I had no idea what it was going to grow into.
Yeah. This is such a needed part of, I think, every community is this like more adult entertainment that's like fun and immersive and
as weird as it can grow with you, because as your abilities grow, it's almost a new game a year later once you've picked it up.
Like we're in our 30s, right? And we're as we get up there in age.
Oh,
we're
you just said that and my knee popped, I think, and my back hurts.
We're still big kids, right? Sure. And like we still want to. I mean, every time I take my children, they're 3 and 2 years old, but every time I take them to like a play place of some sort, there's things there that I want to do, right? And this gives that experience for a different crowd, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So where'd you come up with this?
Well, I mean, so in town, the only thing we had was altitude at the time. And like you said, I mean, I had kids, so we would bring them over there, stuff like that. I was working offshore, coming back home. And in the meantime, I was getting into self-defense involving guns. I got real heavy with like the concealed weapons permits training. I went and got certified. So I was teaching people, helping people acquire their licenses through the state.
Sure.
That's what I was doing for many years because I had downtime when I came home from offshore. It was something that I was passionate about. And in doing all of that, I was looking for training aids and things that would help my, I'd say clients, students, however you want to put it, to get more proficient at using firearms. And I came across this stuff called iCombat. And I looked into it and I said, wow, that would be really cool to have something like that in town from the entertainment spectrum.
Sure.
Instead of like these training aids that they have. So I got a couple of the training aids, started using them, and I was like, okay, this is real legit stuff.
Yeah.
We can actually try to build this into something. And then it got into the phase of, okay, how do I build a business around it? And I had an idea of how to build businesses due to, I had a DJ business before I could even drive. That's kind of looping it back into the music thing. So from an early age, I just understood that if you do something that you love, the money will come after.
Sure.
I was DJing parties for friends that turned into DJing high school events, to doing weddings, to doing, actual DJ gigs at casinos, things like that. So it grew and grew and grew, but I never felt like I was working.
Yeah.
When I was offshore, I'm like, well, this is work.
For sure.
And then you go home and you do your quote unquote hobbies. It just feels better and it feels, rewarding from a sense of like, hey, I can actually give back.
Sure.
Saw the need for it in town, kind of polled friends, family, and said, hey, do you think this would work? Everybody's like, no, it's definitely not going to work. Doing laser tag on Broad Street is never going to work. And it was exciting for me because I almost needed that. I needed the people to tell me like, hey, that's not going to work. Because exactly. I had to. And that's how I've been my whole life. I've always been told like, hey, you can't do that. And I was like, well, thank you for telling me that, but I'm going to go ahead and try anyway. So,
yeah.
So when you say laser tag and you specifically mentioned the iCombat version of it, I would say. When people think laser tags, I think a lot of people kind of think really chinchy vest, really bad little laser guns that hit. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So the difference with this is I would say it's basically like going to the gym for an hour. That is the difference.
It's intense.
Normal people are going to think phasers, lightweight. Well, these guns, they have weight to them. They're all metal. There's felt recoil in the shoulder. There's actual optics on them. And then you pair that with the adrenaline dump that you get because it's like,
Absolutely.
okay, 3, 2, 1,
Yeah.
go. So everybody's like, oh
Don't
my
get hit.
gosh. You know, it's
Yeah.
the music, the lights, things like that. And then you've got, you know, experienced players. I mean, for instance, I'll give you a good analogy. So last night we had an event and I've got the customers last night are all above age 21. It's a bunch of grown men. I would say 25 to 55. They're in there, and at first it's like, oh, this is cool, and they're kind of giddy and giggly and stuff like that. And as soon as the mission brief gets on and it starts to explain of what's going on, then you can see everybody kind of starts getting a little bit more serious.
The eyebrows drop.
Yeah.
Right. And I can equate it to almost when you're in the lobby of a Call of Duty first-person shooter game or something
Yeah.
like that. And then you start hearing other humans that are kind of getting on there. And then you realize like, oh,
It's
I'm
on.
playing against other people, you know? So it can be the fun competition side. It can be laugh, go hard. It just depends on how you take on the game. But that's the coolest part of it is you kind of touched on it. You're like, you can go 1 year, come back a year later. It's totally different games. It's like that from weekend to weekend.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Versus whether we're doing different missions, whether the field gets set up differently every single day. We take down the whole thing, rebuild it as far as like the obstacles and things like that. But the laser tag gear, when you figure it out, then it's like, okay, you can see lights start going off in people.
And it's taken, it seems like almost kind of its own thing. Even you referred the game.
Sure.
Why the game?
Man, there's a lot of aspects to it. It's like I said, we can go in there and we have complete control over the environment and over the atmosphere inside of there. So if we want to say, hey guys, this is a search and destroy mission, you know, or this is a capture the flag, or this is a Hell's Bells, or this is an elimination. There's different ways to approach all these game modes. And it's because it's so many games inside of the game that it's just a big video game with multiple levels. And then you can also, if you're a veteran player, you come a lot, you can make it more challenging on yourself by selecting certain difficulties, which I really enjoy. So the people that first start out, they're shooting pumpkin-sized lasers at you versus the guys that are on hard, they're like dime size. Now there's a give and take here because it's just like shining a flashlight at gear. A big flashlight is going to cover a bigger area, but the people that have the smaller ones can shoot further. They can shoot more accurately, things like that. So the new players, they kind of get within, 10 yards of somebody and they can somewhat eliminate them. The harder guys are like up on the second and a half stores.
I was going to say, it's the difference of playing with a double barrel shotgun and playing with essentially a sniper.
Yeah. And it helps balance out the game. You know, the software is very intuitive. So if you're a new player, you sign up, you're as level 0, it is going to put you with some of the better guys or gals that are inside this session. And so it kind of helps level everything out.
I did notice online there's leaderboard, like you have your essentially your gamer tag as you would on Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, and it tracks your progress. There's kill streaks that it tracks, your KD, your win-loss record. Like it's essentially real life Call of Duty if you want to look at it that way.
You've got people that are like hardcore regulars, right? That are in like every week.
Every single week, multiple times a week. And we've started to run deals for our members only. And that way they can kind of come in and they can get the game speed that they want. Because a lot of our regulars, they don't want to destroy a 9-year-old kid. Like they'll walk up to them and they're like, hey, little buddy, shoot me. You know, they feel bad about it. They want to also bring as many people as they can into the game because they love it. You know, they use it as their cardio sometimes. I mean, I've had people come in, they call what's called a marathon. They come and play for 6 hours of the day.
Wow.
Yeah. So like they'll come in, they'll play a couple of sessions, they'll go upstairs, they'll have lunch, whatever, kind of rest for an hour and get back into it. But like I said, you can play the game in your own way. So
Yeah.
if you don't want to run up a bunch of flights of stairs, if you don't want to, take like tactical walks and be up and down and changing elevations, burning your legs, there's a lot of people, they just kind of walk through there real silently. But it's also really neat because it gives the people that the hobbyist shooters. And that's kind of another thing I'm getting is they're like, man, coming to shoot moving targets is a whole lot cheaper and a whole lot funner than going to the gun range.
Sure.
I can do this in the air conditioner or the heater. I don't have to be outside freezing. And they get that same, cognitive functions of reloading, switching rapid fire to single fire. Like the guns are legit. And that's where I think that we've had the most success is really leaning into the laser tag and curating an experience for each group. Like you said, if your office comes in, you're going to see a lot of game modes that make the most sense to anyone, right?
Sure.
We're not going to throw something on there and be like, okay, cool, we're going to do jailbreak. And everybody's like, what?
What's
it's
that
like,
mean?
You have 3 levels to get to. You have to go secure this key, things like that. It's very difficult for advanced players.
Yeah.
But for new people, it's like, hey, get in here
Yeah.
and just do elimination or team deathmatch and things like that.
And just because I noticed it, I think the elimination streak, the highest is like 63 in a row without being eliminated.
Yes.
I don't think I'm more.
Can you do that?
Do you think I can do that?
No.
I don't think I can either. I'm not good at first-person shooters. I always end up in a corner without the ability to maneuver. So when it's my actual legs, maybe I can make something
My
happen.
favorite thing is watching her try to do first-person anything on a game. She plays it like a car. She
have to back out.
She can't spin on an x-axis. She has to go forward and then she reverses and then she
yeah.
3-point turns.
You know what? Side scrollers are my jam. That's all I'm saying. But I want to get into this because, and also like you said, I mean, it's good for all ages and skill levels. Like just because some people are, extremely into it and like really dedicated to the game.
Sure.
I mean, there are people that are walking in for the first time just to have fun with their kids, right?
Yep, 100%. And it also it depends on, like I said, it depends on your play style and how you want to play. And I've had success with as young as 9 years old going in there and having a great time. And I would say we recommend 13 and up because not all kids are built the same, right?
Sure.
But like I said, we've had my youngest is 7 and has been begging me every single day of his life to play laser tag, and he's finally playing laser tag. His gamer tag is Mickey Munch.
Mickey
Munch. I have no idea why.
I like it.
Yeah, and it's something totally different on his Xbox account and stuff like that. But and it's cool because you give kids the opportunity of like, hey, this gamer tag is one of one. This is only you, and it's going to be worldwide. So when you hop on the internet and you type in iCombat leaderboards, you can look at your facility. You can look at the entire world leaderboard. So you're not only playing against people in Lake Charles, you're playing against people all over the world.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of players that are on our top leaderboard that made the first page of the world leaderboard.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool, yeah.
That's very cool. But in the game is not the only thing, obviously, that you offer at Game2Life.
No, so I'd say there's something for everyone. I really wanted to paint Game2Life with a broad paintbrush because there's so many extra things that adults don't get to do because it's not their size, it's not their speed, certain things like that. And I can kind of touch on some points. I don't want to spill all the beans, but for instance, if an adult wanted to like hop on a go-kart, or if an adult wanted to like take a zip line, or if an adult wanted to do an obstacle course, things like that, Game2Life is looking at doing. And it's because I want the kids that don't have a chance, the 15, 16, 17-year-olds, those are kids in my mind.
Sure.
And when I was that age, there was what we always used to say, there's nothing to do. So what did we do? We went and got in trouble and did silly stuff. So I've been trying to foster a community of, I say tweens, teens, young adults, young professionals, to where they all have their own, like, I'd say like segregated space,
Yeah.
If I've got my 35, 40-year-old, young professionals that are playing pickleball out there. We're also going to be doing some golf simulations. So I've got a trove of people that are going to come and do that. The axe throwing, 45, 65, 70-year-old men are loving it. You know, that's their jam. Even 13-year-old girls out there throwing axes. I had a 13-year-old girl's birthday party throwing axes, and they had the most fun.
That is so fun.
Ever. And it was great. They were jamming, you know, Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA on the dang JBL party box, and they're singing every word. It's always been meant for a good time. No matter where you are in the building, there's music, and it's just always, what are you trying to get into today? How can we help you, and how can we have like the most fun?
Well, and your facility is not just about the having fun part, but like food and beverage obviously plays a really key role in that too. This isn't just like your standard go up to the concession stand while you're at a fun place. Like this is real good food, right?
Yeah. Well, it started as a concession stand. We did and it was like, okay, do I serve like beer and wine? And it's like, okay. And to fully understand, like, it's only me. So I don't have like a GM. I don't have like a beverage connoisseur. I don't have like investors or anything like that. So it's always had to be like, go R&D it yourself. Like go to bars. Like I'm not a bar person, but I would find myself, I'd go to a bar, I'd sit at the bar, I'd talk with the bartender. Hey, do you mind if I take pictures of like the alcohol bottles that you have? What is popular? And I'm just like sitting there taking notes.
Just doing your own research.
Yeah, just going. And then also it's cool because I get to patronize local facilities and talk to local owners. And I've been super, super privileged by being able to like know a lot of these people personally.
Sure.
You know, and just have conversations with restaurateurs and be like, hey, how do you do your food? Who is your food supplier? Things like that. And it went from, you know, like nachos and pizza to now it's, I mean, we've got Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, steak, chicken quesadillas. Our nachos now are like fully loaded, you know, with like homemade chips. You know, we've got like our own spinach and artichoke dip, and you know, like we have appetizers and main entrees. And
it's a real deal,
yeah. And it's been fun, you know, really getting that and bringing that in. And I think what I'm really passionate about is bringing on others in the team and saying like, what are you good at? Like, do you like to cook food? That's awesome. Do you want to make a menu?
Yeah.
You know, like, do you want to play around with like making a signature dish? And it's cool because, and I always bring it back to my childhood because I want to design a life for kids that are 16 years old. They're able to go drive to their job and they're able to like pull something out of that job. First job was at a smoothie shop, learned millions of life lessons, you know, from servicing people to working on equipment, right?
Sure.
And I've just tried to foster that work environment for the kids. And then at the same time, how does that spill over? How does your passion spill over to help somebody in our community have an awesome experience?
Yeah.
Whether it is culinary, whether it is throwing axes, like we have what I call an expert who helps people throw axes and things like that. And over the years, the job has evolved from helping people understand how to throw axes to now they're like doing that. Plus they're having to do wait service. So they're, you know, waiting on them, you know, with beverages and food and stuff like that. And it's just really, really awesome to see the big shift, you know, because it's been 6 years in business with just me, slow grind to get it there. And it's been awesome. Like now I walk into the restaurant, like there's people sitting down, like having dinner. And that was never a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to see now.
Let me create a scenario for you. So here in Lake Charles, we often have a lot of groups of parents come as part of a baseball, softball, sports travel group, right? Or we have a conference at the Golden Nugget, or that's at the event center at L'Auberge, at one of our casino properties, and they want to have a group building activity. Essentially, you're looking at a group of people that are from out of town that are looking for something to engage with each other while they're here. How does Game2Life fit in for those groups?
I love that you asked that because our property is starting to be designed. So we back up to O.D. Johnson Park that's owned by the city of Lake Charles. And our plan is, and I've dropped in and had some meetings with some folks. Our plan is to connect our facility to that facility, as well as develop an RV park so they can stay and play. We've coined, as much like Lake Charles we feel is Louisiana's playground, I'm trying to make Game2Life Lake Charles's playground. And from the likes of, rather we're coming in and doing the stay and play packages with your teams, or we're just coming in for conferences and things like that if they are staying at the hotels, which is we do a ton of. But it's really neat because, like I said, that there's something for the parents, there's something for the teens, tweens, and all in between. We're developing an actual playground right now on property with a high fence for the littles, because we, like Jillian said, she's got little ones at home.
Right.
So it's like if there's a safe space park, that's like turfed and nice for them to go on their slides and things, where parents can keep an eye on them, where we have, video of them, it's covered area. Those sort of things would have never been in my business plan from day one.
Yeah.
But now it's cool because the community showed up, they've shown support, and they've loved what we have to offer. And so now I'm giving back and like, hey, look, this isn't just, for adults. When it kind of started out, it was, with just the laser tag and axe throwing, it was raw. It wasn't refined as it is now. I've got, seating, I've got swing sets, I've got nice turf areas now for the kids, to have in their areas. But to answer your question, a big softball, baseball, soccer, football, whatever team is perfectly at home at Game2Life, not only due to the fact that they're going to strengthen their bond and team skills by going in and engaging in laser tag, but the parents get to have, cocktails and dinner, and you kind of knock it all out all at once.
Yeah.
Feed them, exercise them, get home, lay down. We have a ball game tomorrow.
That sounds good. And another thing, talking about food, new to this year was like food trucks, right?
Yeah.
That they're bringing in. Is that right?
So we did a pop-up for food trucks. A good friend of mine is developing a food truck park downtown right now, which is going to be awesome. And as he's telling me about it, I said, well, I've had a guy approach me wanting to conceptualize a food truck park to try to help some of our local food trucks, get kind of gathered up and do the thing. We've run it. We've had some serious battles with like our snowstorms and the freezes and things like that, but it's worked out great. The community loves the idea. They love the concept. So I think that they're going to be very successful down the way. But we've decided, I was like, look, we're just going to put a complete hold on it for now. When spring comes around and we have those other developments that I kind of touched on earlier that we're working on right now, when we have that fully decked out, then we are going to incorporate a piece of that. But it's mainly due to me helping a friend and also helping another friend all at the same time.
I love that though, because like what you're doing and how your business is evolving is helping other businesses evolve in this town too.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that we can really draw from. And talking with other business owners really gave me the sense of community and not to have a Highlander approach. There cannot only be one of something. There can be multiple things. This pie is big enough for all of us. Let's just figure out how we can help each other. Yeah. And I've been a big proponent of that. I've also been extremely busy, so I stay at my spot, constantly developing. And it's just, like I said, it's a very slow grind. But I'm very much entangled with this community. I love it. I want to give back. And, like you touched on earlier, Brady, my plans aren't just here, but I will always give back here. This will always be my spot. If I really blow up and this thing really takes hold, Lake Charles is going to have an incredible playground because the things we have planned are crazy.
So, okay, my office is looking to book a party, right, for a bunch of us and come to Game2Life and really have a great experience. I think for most of us, if not all, this is going to be our very first time to set foot in there, right? What advice do you have for somebody who's coming for the first time?
First time coming to Game2Life, dress comfortable. Okay. We're very casual spot, something maybe that you would wear to the gym. Okay. Because we want to get moving. Right. The whole goal is for you to come in, have a little snack, have a little something to eat, because you got to make sure to nourish first, and then we're gonna go downstairs.
Nourish with these loaded nachos.
That's right. We're gonna go downstairs. We're gonna have an awesome time in the axe cages. It's semi-covered patio area. We've got plenty of heaters and stuff like that. So we'll get the blood pumping there, and then we'll go inside, play laser tag inside of the laser tag arena. Take anything you can off as far as jackets, crazy stuff like that. We keep the room nice and cold, but it's the adrenaline. I mean, it really is. And it's not like as intense as, it's only as intense as you make it.
Sure.
That is basically always been like my thoughts, is because there could be other people that are going crazy, but it's not always have to be that for you, you know? But I would expect when you come to Game to Life that you are going to be moving around. We have locker systems for everything. Like if you've got purses, extras, things like that, you know, I'd suggest taking your phones out, things like that inside your locker. But really plan to show up, and you're gonna sweat. You're gonna have an endorphin dump, and more importantly, you're gonna have something to talk about for a few weeks. That's the most thing that I get is like when they talk about what we said, the game, laser tag. They are in there and they're talking smack. And it's, you remember when so-and-so came around that corner and we were shooting each other? And it's just, I still hear laser tag stories.
That's awesome. I'll
be in Steins walking down. I'm like, hey, laser tag guy, right?
Laser tag guy.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You should get that monogrammed on your shirt. Laser tag guy.
Absolutely.
That's great.
I have no pro tips for the game or laser tag, but I do for axe throwing. As I've gotten pretty decent. Go high. Don't, you would think you just throw it from the wrist and it's all elbow and wrist. Go high. Use the extension on the arm.
When have you thrown an axe?
I live a life of mystery.
Do you? Apparently, I mean, he is my husband, and I don't know that he's throwing. Where are you throwing axes?
We'll talk off.
Oh my goodness!
Off mic.
Hey, it's always good to train. Okay,
that's a good point. Good. It's always good to train.
So if you see little dots in his trees or anything in the backyard, if you see some minor slits or maybe some
dare
bark,
hit my crepe myrtles. Game over.
You pop it up top like you're throwing a curveball. That's the secret.
Is that an accurate technique?
It might be for you.
Is the expert going to be listening to this and shaking his head?
I was struggling to stick it going right here. I go high and I was sticking it where I needed to every time. That's all I'm going to say.
Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, to each is their own. I've seen lots of different techniques, and that's one thing is we're not going to leave you out there alone.
Oh, good.
That's the worst.
Yeah, because I'd be doing it granny style, and it wouldn't be good for anybody.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the granny style axe throw.
I'm sure you would.
It exists.
Yeah.
It's out there, and it works.
Gonna make it trend for sure. So what's coming up for people at Game to Life?
So we've got some awesome discounts coming up. One thing that we're running right now is our date night special. It is 2 for laser tag or axe throwing. You're going to get 2 house cocktails and 2 combo meals for $70. So that's like the ultimate date night. We also have a big pickleball tournament coming up. It's for first responders. With You is doing it. They're called the Rally for Resilience rather. It's March 22nd. It's going to be an awesome time. Also, we have our student discount that we're running all the way through summer. Being a student's hard enough, so we decided to give them a huge price break. $10 laser tag or $10 axe throwing on Friday nights. And then, other than that, we also have the Dwarfinators coming April 9th, which is we do special events like that too. We do concerts and things like that. But yeah, Dwarfinators is micro mini wrestling.
Interesting. But a lot of fun stuff on tap and a lot of expansions happening too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thanks again to Judson for joining us here on the show. But the biggest thank you of all, as you know, goes out to you, the listener, for taking time out of your day to join us on this here podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please can you follow the podcast, leave us a rating or review wherever you listen, whether that's YouTube or maybe Apple or Spotify. We know you're listening. We appreciate it. Leave us a rating or review.
That, of course, helps us grow our audience and further share the unique experiences that Lake Charles and Southwest Louisiana has to offer. Go to visitLakeCharles.org/podcast for more episodes, advice on where to eat, and events that are happening this weekend. I'm Jillian Corder.
And I'm Brady Raynard. Thanks again for coming to play at Louisiana's Playground. C'est you.